and we're going to give $1.5 million to support one of the largest corporations in this entire country. Now, my second question is this. I just don't understand why we're giving away $1.5 million if we can't pave the roads.
Hold on a minute, because it's my understanding, nobody up here has heard anything about nobody giving any land away. We're leasing the land.
The city plan is gonna own this property, and we're gonna lease it back to Alpha.
Yeah,
We will,
we're
they're,
not giving anything away.
They're gonna-
How does the county own it? I mean, how does the county own it if the city owns it?
we're partners.
Okay, but that means that if the county gives it away, then you're giving it away.
We're not giving
I mean,
anything
if
away.
the city, I'm sorry.
We will retain ownership of the property and the buildings that Alpha builds on there. Now,
The county is going to have ownership of everything that Alpha puts
everything,
out there,
yes,
even Alpha's building.
yes, what my understanding.
The
Now,
county,
I've not
the
been
county
in
is
these
going to-
negotiations,
Yes,
these
it
are IDB negotiations,
Uh-huh.
but the city and county will maintain ownership of that facility.
Okay, now here's my thing, and I'll get through. I have two things. One thing is this. Do you know how much a sheriff's deputy makes in this county per hour?
I'm ashamed to tell you that I do.
Okay, what is it?
It's about $14.
No, it's 16. Now, here's the thing. If you come out of the academy, you get paid 15. Now, that comes out to roughly $35,000 a year. Are you aware, and I'm sure you are, that out of that $35,000 gross, they pay $850 or $750 a month if they have full coverage insurance. So you've got $8,500 coming off the top of that. Plus, are you aware that there are 4 investigators here? And those 4 investigators have an average of 441 cases each.
Yep.
It takes 7 to 10 days to rectify one of those, to clear one of them up, while others are being piled on. And so what we're doing, we're asking people to strap on a vest and go out, and you are correct, whoever said this, I think you did, about at some places here, in the research I've done, we have 2 deputies covering 760 square miles.
That's
Okay?
exactly right.
Now, here's the thing. I have 2 questions here. You say that you guaranteed us just a few minutes ago that 900,000 people are going to come in here.
That's the projection.
Okay, let me add something. If you've got 40,000 people, how many people in the county? 40,000? And you've got 31 deputies and including the sheriff, and they're making $16 an hour, and you're going to add an extra 900,000 people here?
Right.
But you guaranteed it. You said they will come. We build it, they will come. Okay, now, my suggestion is that we take the money that we're going to get from the sale, because I don't think that you can handle 900,000 extra people in here with 31 deputies.
No, it's obvious, no way.
So,
you
so
can.
the thing, but you said that they will come,
They
so
will.
if they're gonna come, then why don't we do this? Why don't we hire an extra 31 deputies right now, because we know they're going to come, 35,000, and then we've got it, we're made, or are we going to wait until we bring in 900,000? And I hate to tell you, but I don't believe they're gonna be all Bible-carrying, Southern Baptist people coming in here.
You're probably
okay?
right.
And so probably we may need a few more police people. And then I did one other research, and then I'm sitting down, and I want to say my thing.
Sir, can I interrupt?
Sure.
Peacefully. I'd like to interject something, Mr. Chairman. The city will be furnishing half of that.
Half
So
of what?
hypothetically, policemen, if we're furnishing 32, they'll furnish 16. So all the burden won't be on our sheriff's department. But
Well,
you
that's
are
fine.
correct.
I'd take 16. I mean,
So-
I'd
so
take
if-
16.
If you've looked at our bill is earmarked for 3 areas.
Uh-huh,
And they go to economic development,
okay.
which is growing our county. That's investing so that we make more money further down the road so these problems don't happen. It's for public safety so that we can address these issues that the sheriff is faced with today.
Okay, how
Whether
much
they
money
be-
do you expect let's take the public safety, how much do you expect that to be?
Well, we don't know what those needs are gonna be, nor do we know exactly how much money this is gonna
We
take.
got 900,000 people coming in here.
How many deputies does that take? I mean, hypothetically, we don't know.
Hypothetically, it'd take about 2,000.
Well, most of them are just gonna be getting on and off the interstate though.
Well, if they get on and off the interstate, we got people, if you watch the 6 o'clock news in Birmingham, you got people at the service stations getting on and off, getting shot daily.
I can't argue with you at all about
I'm
your
not,
point.
I'm
It's
not
a
trying to argue.
justified point.
I'm just trying to say that if we've got the people, it looks like the infrastructure's fine, roads are fine. But the thing about it is, if we don't do something for the sheriffs and to give them some relief, the problem that we're going to have is, I paid a guy $14 the other day to help me pick up pine straw in my yard.
Yeah, exactly.
$14. This guy straps on for a 12-hour shift. He straps on a vest, and he goes out, and somebody's going to shoot him.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're paying him. You know, how can we ask deputies to do that?
You can in good conscience.
Okay, then why don't we get a conscience?
We have been working diligently.
Mr. Chairman, I've listened to this. Listen, I'm the chaplain with the sheriff's department, and I ride with these guys, and I see exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
But nobody has wrote a check to bring revenue to this community, to this county, to increase the revenue.
Pardon me, he just told me 900,000.
Wait a minute, now, hold it.
He guaranteed
You're-
me
you-
900,000 people are coming here.
He guaranteed you 900,000 people, but we haven't collected anything. This bill haven't even passed, and you're wanting us to hire 31 deputies.
No, I'm not. What I'm wanting to do is, if he's saying that 900,000 people are coming, I'm sorry, but this sounds almost like the southern border to me. We got a whole bunch of people coming in, and we got
The southern
nobody
border?
looking at it. Yeah.
Sir, though, the 900 thousand people, this is a projection.
No, he
No,
said,
no,
and
I've
I
said
quote, he
It's
said, and
gonna
I
be
quote,
successful.
this money will come in. That's what you said.
It will, but I
At full
also
capacity.
said, I also said how much of it we keep here is gonna be contingent on how well we develop the retail side of this. Because they could come in here, visit this facility, pay their fee at the gate, and leave and go to Shelby County and spend all their money. So we've got the throughput. It's our opportunity to exercise it as well as possible and retain as much of it as possible. And that's going to reflect on how well our IDB performs and how well our community leaders, both in Clanton and here, perform to help our community grow and capture this revenue.
Okay, but, and my final comment for sure is, but I think it is a crying shame that a sheriff's deputy in Chilton County, you know what's really sad? It's gonna be really sad when we have really good roads, and that'll be nice, because when we have a funeral procession, they'll have a good road to ride on.
Well, did you not hear about the bill?
I heard about that.
It's a 3-part bill.
I heard
That's
about
the
it.
reason we done that, not just for the roads.
Well, exactly, but you can't tell us how much it's going to help us. All I'm trying to say is, we have a problem here, but we have a guarantee of 900,000 people coming in, and if we have that, I don't think, if we're gonna have that coming in, why don't we give the sheriff some help right now?
We don't
And I
have
think
any
you-
money right now.
But it's coming in.
I mean,
It's going to,
Okay.
but we're talking 5.
we're gonna go to
7
lunch
years
tomorrow,
from
and I'm gonna buy lunch, but you meet me there, okay? And I'm gonna buy the lunch, but you just wait on me to get there. I'm gonna be there, and I'm gonna pay.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
I see what
That's
you're
no
saying.
different than what you're saying here, saying, all right, let's go ahead, but we got to make sure this money's coming in before we spend it. You want us to spend money before we get it?
But here, okay, even if the money doesn't come in, and I'm not being obstinate about this.
I'm not neither, I'm
If you
just,
if he guarantees me 900,000 people are coming in here, and they don't leave a drop of money in Chilton County, we've got 31 deputies
Yes, sir,
to take care of it.
yes, sir.
Now, that is a problem.
That is a
And if we
valid
don't-
point,
and if we
sir.
if we don't take a look at it right now and prepare for this, we're gonna have 900,000 people here, we're gonna have 2 deputies out there, and they're gonna be on the other kind of the county, and if we have any kind of incidences there, then we're gonna.
I'm sure the sheriff don't mind telling you, we have already discussed this and with him about what's going on out in that property and the need. Everybody knows the need for this. It ain't a commissioner up here don't know the need for the safety in this county.
Yes, sir.
Well, we have to look forward though, and I appreciate very
Yes, sir.
much. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
very much what you do. I wouldn't have your job on the best. And the thing about it is, I'm almost like, I talked to the sheriff one time, and I told him, you must be crazy. And he said, that's what his wife said. But you guys, I'm not really sure about your sanity being
Yeah.
up there on the
Our wives say the same thing.
problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sir,
Doc-
I'd
Dr.
like to
Driggers.
ask you a question, sir. How long have you lived in this county?
42 years.
42
Yes,
years.
sir. I practiced optometry here for 42 years.
Well, congratulations and good deal. Appreciate you. What would be your idea for trying to improve the county with no money? This is a one in a chance lifetime.
Now, I'm not arguing with.
I understand.
I'm not arguing with your proposition. I think this is great.
Uh-huh.
But the thing about it is, he's telling me, and I'm not arguing with him, he's telling me that we got a whole host of folks coming in.
Mm-hmm.
We're not prepared for that whole host of folks. And if we're waiting to cash those checks,
We're not.
no. What I mean is, if we have 50,000 people coming in, that's gonna be $50,000 worth of problems. Now, those people may spend some money, but by the time that we take that money and allocate it to the sheriff's department, those 50,000 people have come and gone, and what have they done to our county? You know, if we can't protect these people.
I understand your basic point, I do. But as this thing grows, based on projections, obviously the sheriff's department, and we've talked with the city, they'll have to increase people. As it grows, so will our police force.
The thing about it is, if the sheriff's department right now needs, in addition to what they have, they need 31 more officers. They need another narcotics officer. They need 2 more people to do investigations. They need 31 more people, or 18 more people right now. You're talking about obligations. That obligation is here right now. And if we're waiting on a pie in the sky thing, we're not going to be prepared, is my point, for when this whole host of 900,000 people.
And I agree with you with public safety. That is the reason we're here, to defend the 1 cent sale tax. Because if we don't get that, and if we don't start making changes, you've been here 42, when you've been here 52, it'll be just like it is now.
I agree, or it would be worse.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Yeah, and I agree.
Yeah,
And I agree.
everybody's looking for a magic bullet.
We are.
And I promise you, I'm not being disrespectful. There is not a magic bullet. It's what everybody's doing, making tough decisions and hard work. And if you can find one man to come in those doors to fix this county with the shape it's in, he don't need to be in the courthouse, his ass needs to be in the White House.
Well, I agree with that. But one last thing though, don't you think it's a shame, that you can fill this room right here, this little bitty room, with a concern,
Yes,
this
sir.
is how much concern you've got. Now, that's the thing that bothers me more than anything else.
And you're 100% correct on what you're saying, public safety, but we don't have the funds to increase all these departments.
Joseph,
But I
Joseph.
agree with you.
Joseph,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Joseph, let me add one thing. Dr. Driggers, something I'd like to add for that, before you leave it, just be short. We have about $8 million of unearmarked money, and that's mainly what the state has earmarked for us that we can spend. $8 million to, actually run this county. 48% of that $8 million goes to the sheriff and the jail. So a little bit less than half of what our unearmarked money has already been spent with the sheriff. And he definitely needs more. By all means, he needs more. But without what we're doing right now, we're not going to be able to give him more.
Well, would there be possible for somebody, if we're expecting 900,000 people, could a study be done or something from this Georgia town going back to where they first started? They had to have a trickle coming in, go back and do a study, look at a study and see, okay, when we first did it, the first year we had 50,000 people, the second year 75, the next year 250. If we could look at that, then we could pretty much mitigate what we needed as far as extra deputies and things like that.
All those things are being done right now. All those studies are in the process or have been done right now.
Will the public be made aware of that?
I'm sure it's your money, and you will be made available when those studies are finalized.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dreger.
All right, guys, I got us way off of our 3-minute mark, so we're going to try to rein the 3 minutes back in.
Oh, I'm sorry, I
That-
didn't hear the 3 minutes.
I'm sorry, but if you would come to the mic.
I got here a little late. How much is the sales tax that you're talking about?
1 cent countywide and 2 cents in the unincorporated areas of the county. So that's the areas that are outside of a city limit. So you'll exclude Clanton, Thorsby, Jemison, and Maplesville from that additional cent, where they're already paying more money now.
Okay. So is this one-time deal until this kicks in? As far as this, you're talking about the amount of money coming in? As far or is this, center here?
This bill is a 30-year bill, 35, I'm sorry. And what that,
Progressive, is what I'm saying. Is this a one-time 3 cent tax, or 1 cent and 2 cents on the?
it has no escalator in it. The escalator is gonna be growing the sales revenue in the
Well,
county.
that's what I meant. I mean, this is not gonna be, well, we need more now.
No,
We need more now.
no,
We need more.
no, no.
So it's a one-time deal.
One-time deal. Now, I can't tell you that the Board of Education might not come to you and ask you for more money at some point, but this commission right now, this won't fix our problem today. It won't do it, because what I'm telling you is this 1 cent is going to generate a total of about $4 million. And just on roads, we need about $7 million a year, which is about 4.5 or 5, well, 5.5 million more than we have now. But what we're doing is putting something in place, whereas this thing grows and this county grows and the retail side grows, we're going to be able to grow that 1 cent from 4 million to possibly 8 million in the future.
So the 10-cent gas tax that we just got thrown on us as far as statewide, or is the county getting any of that at all?
We will get a proportion of that, just like we do the current sales tax. And there's a complicated formula. It's not going to help us a lot. Just be honest with you. The best thing about it is it did away with the state and federal regulations. And so where we were spending $400,000 a mile, we won't have those same guidelines unless it's federal money. And we'll be able to do 4 times as many miles with the same amount of money.
We'll get about 980,000 a year.
Out of that 10-cent tax?
Yes, sir.
And that's all?
Mobile will be most of that.
The state, the gas tax, no matter where you buy your gas tax, that money goes to the state of Alabama. The state of Alabama collects that tax, and then they have a distribution formula. I don't have it right here in front of me. One of you guys might have the exact numbers. I do have it. 45% of your gas tax goes to the state, and that pays for your state roads like Highway 22, 145, some of 31, but your main state highways. The rest of that money, this other 65%, is split, and they have a formula. There's a portion of it that's taken and divided by population, and then what's left is divided by every county equally. So the counties, there are 3 main counties in Alabama, the Mobile area, the Birmingham area, and the Huntsville area, that get almost all the gas tax money. So they have something like 1.1 employee per mile of road in Mobile. And we have over 1,000 miles of road in Chilton County with 40 employees. So to give you an idea of how the gas tax distribution works, we don't think it's fair, but there's so many more people live there, they get so much more of it.
3 largest counties get the majority of it.
Any more questions?
You mentioned that the property on the north side of the rest area was half of it's owned by the city and half of it's owned by the county.
Right.
And then you mentioned that that it wouldn't be sold, but it's gonna be owned and maintained. Owned and maintained, the buildings also, will they be owned and maintained?
I've not heard the word maintained in these discussions. Again, I've not been in discussions with IDB and the Farmers Federation, but we will retain ownership of those. What I think the intentions are is for us to lease that property to them, and it'll probably be a 99-year lease. But Chilton County will have the ownership of the property and the buildings, and if for some reason it didn't work and it became defunct, that property would come back to Chilton County.
But the thing I was concerned about, if they lease it, they will be responsible for keeping the buildings up and maintaining it, so that don't leak. The other thing that I was concerned about, and I'm sure y'all thought about this, and you talked about the sheriff's department, and I saw those needs too, and I see needs now, but, the fire protection, things that in the infrastructure that's beyond what we have now. I'm sure there's a study going on with that for what's gonna be needed there.
There are discussions going on about both police and fire. There's some discussion about actually putting a satellite facility on the premises. We haven't gotten to that yet, but that is being discussed for the police and possibly.
It's a big undertaking, and I'm not comparing it to Disneyland, but it's a big undertaking, and just from the standpoint of ambulance service, and it's so many things to, and I think maybe what James mentioned about looking at what the others had done, and what they'd had, how they grew into it, or how, I think that would be a good idea.
There have been multiple visits to these other facilities by the guys from the Farmers Federation, by individual IDB board members here in Chilton County, by our economic developer. They're on first name basis with the mayors in these towns. They visited so much. The economic impact studies, we had one presented to us by the Farmers Federation. Our economic developer and our IDB board requisitioned their own, which was done by the University of Alabama, to compare the two. The homework and the research is being done. And because you weren't near Mike, I want to repeat what you said earlier. The maintenance of the facility will not be on the taxpayers of Chilton County. There will be an operating agreement.
No, and there was one other question that I had, I lost my chain of thought, but I might want to ask another question.
Okay.
If you would, can you come to the mic, please, when it comes, we are recording this. Sir. Sir, I would like for you to come to the mic because we are recording this. It's a live recording. Thank you.
How much would the lease be for the 99 years?
Those things are being negotiated right now with multiple lawyers involved and primarily our IDB representatives. And when I say our IDB, we have a group from the city of Clanton and a group from the Chilton County IDB boards that have come together to represent us. And Miss Whitney Barlow, who is our professional economic developer that's been hired by all the municipalities and the county to help us through this project, they're working on these things. We've hired an attorney out of Mobile that specializes in these type projects. So all of those things, there's all kinds of entities and structures that have to be created for us to do all the things that the law allows us to do to get this facility here. And those things are being worked on right now. We don't have a final agreement. All we have is a handshake that we want to do it in Chilton County because of the 11 sites that they surveyed. We were the only place that worked because we're the only place in the state of Alabama where we have 1.2 million households within 60-minute drive. We're the only place in Alabama. And that threshold gives them the number of people needed to know that it'll work regardless of what else happens.
Can I add something, Mr. Chairman?
Please.
I know people are, and I have questions, but this operation right now is still in its infancy. So there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of things trying to get settled. So if we can answer a question, especially me, we may not have that answer right now. But I'm sure that Whitney and our commission will be happy to meet with some people and give them some more solid answers down the road. But there's a lot of moving parts right now. Thank you.
I own several pieces of property throughout the county, and I was told about a week ago that the Association of County Commissioners have changed the way the property tax is going to be appraised. They come out with a new guide that's going to be raised. More value is going to be added to stuff, the way they appraise it.
I don't know anything about the
I was told in
association.
this room last week.
I don't know anything about the Association of County Commissioners having anything to do with that.
Are the appraisals going up?
I can't tell you that. That's something we'd have to ask Tim, our revenue commissioner.
Yeah, that's who
But
told me.
they have a model that they plug things into, and it gives an output
I got it from him, so.
Okay.
Well, I was told, sir, that it was the Association of Revenue Association.
It was a
I haven't
partnership
heard
between
it.
those two.
I haven't
And
heard from
I
the
know you're probably
ACC.
a member of that association, right?
We are, but I will tell you this, there are, and I can't give you the exact numbers, but I can be pretty close. There's laws on the books in Alabama that give a range of what a revenue officer can appraise a piece of property's value. And it ranges somewhere from like 98% to 102%. If they raise over that 102%, then you have cause to fight that in whatever manner you want to. You can object to the appraised value. You can take the revenue commissioner or essentially Chilton County to court. Any county can do that, and people do it every day.
But you're talking about the tax rate, you're not talking about the appraisal of the property value itself.
No, I'm talking about the appraised value. We had a local company sue Chilton County last year over an appraised value that was put out by the state of Alabama, and they won in some aspect in that it wasn't where we were and it wasn't where they were. The jury pool came back and said it's somewhere in between. So these things are fought all the time, and we have a board that's jointly appointed that hear these cases before they get into the court system. So there are avenues for relief, but that is not something the commission has anything to do with, nor have I been approached at any time
But
by the
if the
ACCA.
Association of County Commissioners vote on it, or did vote on it, and you're part of that, you don't have a vote
I don't have
yes or
any
yea or
knowledge
nay?
of that.
They couldn't, the Association of County Commissioners can't pass anything.
Along with the Department of Revenue.
They
may-
can't either. They can lobby the legislature, but they can't pass anything.
Now, I'm the liaison from the commission to our legislators and the ACCA. And I get all the information that comes out. I get information every other day. And any bills that we are supporting, any bills that we're looking at, I get a copy of those bills every day.
Okay.
And nothing like that has come across my
I
desk
haven't
yet.
seen it.
Okay.
I hope you're not right.
Well, I talked to Mr. Little, because last week he was telling me about it. Here.
He shared with me that he's afraid that's going to happen, but we haven't, to my knowledge,
He
we
must
haven't
have
seen
some
that
insight
yet.
on it, but
And I'll check on tomorrow. But I've not, like I said, I've not heard anything on it.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
You have any
Appreciate
else?
you being honest with us in
Yeah.
Jemison.
Well, that's
He
one thing.
abstained from the vote. He's got a lot of timber and agricultural property, a lot. And he also, his brother is the president of Alpha. So maybe
So
another
I
reason
have
he
a
abstained.
fine line to walk with the ethics committee. I can't, that's why I keep telling you IDB, because I cannot be in any of these negotiations because of the ethics laws in my immediate family. So I have to stay way away from this situation. As soon as this thing became reality, I stepped down as our IDB, as the rep from the commission to the IDB, and Matt took that position. I'm not going to jail for any of y'all.
And the farm center in Georgia I think it was bought by the county and the city, the property was, and then a state runs it. So the state gets most of the money, I think.
There's a statewide sales tax, or property tax, I'm sorry, in Georgia that supports that facility. And I'm speaking behind Whitney mostly now, but those guys that run that park said they made some grievous errors early on because they've been limited in what they could do. One thing that they're not allowed to do is they're not allowed to brand buildings. And you see stadiums, AT&T stadiums or whatever now. That is a great method to raise money from private corporations to build this capital stack, to build these buildings with.
Okay.
If they'll donate money, we'll name that building after you. This being a state-owned facility, they're not able to do that. But this public-private partnership that we're trying to put together with the Farmers Federation would allow them to brand those buildings and get private sector investment onto the vertical structure.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, also, I'd like to just, the land that we're talking about is a little over 500 acres out there. It's not gonna, as far as, and help me if I'm wrong, we got some of our IDB board here tonight. We're only gonna use possibly 300, maybe 300 something acres, is that correct? Something like that? Maybe?
Part of it, and then there's the
Workforce development, that's what I was gonna get to. Because part of it's gonna be used to that, then our initial goal is to have workforce development, which we do need in this county and our surrounding counties, because anybody here that's self-employed knows that our workforce struggles to find the qualified people to do the work that needs to be done here. And most people have to go outside the counties and get the jobs they need. And myself being self-employed, it's a struggle to find those who are qualified that wants to do the kind of jobs that we do. But the workforce development, I just wanted to add to that note, this workforce development that our boards are working on is a great thing that I'm excited about, because we could stuff like skills training, truck driver training, equipment operator training. The sky's the kind of the limit with that. So, and I think we need that in this county. I mean, like I said, if anybody's self-employed or has kids at work, I'm personally, I'm not built to work at Walmart. I'm not saying I'm too good, but I will go to work at Walmart. But I'd like to have a skill or a trade that I can depend on to support my family. Thank you.
Well, to build on that a little bit, Whitney, can I put you on the spot to talk a little bit about workforce development? Would you mind? I'm sorry, I did not. This is Whitney Barlow. She's the economic developer, and I have totally put her on the spot.
Okay, so before we get in workforce development, I think everyone needs to understand that the county commission took an opportunity. We have a catalyst project, which is this park, and it is spinning it all out of control and making it a fantastic opportunity for y'all to really maximize your sales tax. If the catalyst project didn't exist, based on what I know now of your financial situation, I think you'd still be sitting in this spot having to pass this sales tax regardless. You just have a fantastic opportunity to double that 4.1 million, which is what you brought in last year off your sales tax. So the park is great in that aspect, but that is all the park is great for. You still have these other problems over here, and the infrastructure is not just roads. It's bridges, it's fiber, it's fire, it's anything that has to do with the maintenance of this county. But on the workforce development component, so you've got three components of that project going on out there. You have the park, and the park is an agricultural livestock fairground park. It will hold indoor, outdoor shows, it will hold livestock shows. Your shows average about 20,000 people in attendance. You have shows that peak out, and you have 11 days that brings in, at this point in time, 400,000 people. To answer someone else's questions, we do have those numbers, and in 1995, when the park opened, they had 300,000 people. They went to 500,000, 600,000, 730,000, and never came back down. Last year, they had 1 million people come through their gates. So we're not even using last year's numbers. We tried to go a little bit lower, and they're averaging around 900,000 people over the past 5 years. That is something at full capacity. That is not opening the gates at the door. But as of next year, when your sales tax goes into play, you'll start bringing in 4.1 if you run this year's numbers immediately. So the workforce development component, there is a dire need in this state. And I have an IDB board member that owns a contracting company. I have an IDB board member that owns a steel erection company. I have an ID board member that's an HVAC. I have county commissioners that own companies that know there is a dire need for heavy machinery and construction operation. The blue collar trade skills that pay very, very well have been neglected.